At the start of this afternoon's proceedings will continue to be live streamed, but there will come a point when the live stream will be cut off and we will revert to a full reporting restriction order procedure. Throughout this afternoon, those who have electronic devices may use them to report what they hear in the hearing room, but only after 10 minutes have elapsed. They may not use their devices to record or photograph. What they report is subject to the reporting restriction order, and if anybody is in any doubt about what they may send out, please ask a member of the inquiry staff. Yes, Mr. Barr.
Mr. Lambert, did you in fact join a small group of people who planned and then executed the incendiary device attacks on Debenhams department stores on the 11th and 12th of July 1987?
I didn't, no.
Did you attend gatherings of the group at parks in North and East London to plan the attacks?
I didn't.
Did you attend a meeting in a park at which Andrew Clark, Paul Gravett, Jeff Shepherd, and Helen Steele were present?
Well, not that I can recall.
A meeting at which Helen Steele was invited to join the conspiracy?
No, I can be sure that I wasn't there.
An invitation which she declined?
No, I can be sure that I wasn't there.
Were you involved in discussions to select the targets for these improvised incendiary device attacks?
No, I wasn't.
Were you party to a decision that Debenhams should be the target of the attack?
No.
Were you party to discussions from which it emerged that Andrew Clark would target the Luton store, Jeff Shepherd the Romford store, Paul Gravett the Reading store, and that you would target the Harrow branch?
No, I was not.
Were you party to an arrangement with Paul Gravett to siphon funds from a benefit gig held on the 13th of June 1987 for the purposes of funding these attacks?
No.
Did you have anything to do with a ALF HSA benefit gig held in Slough on the 13th of June 1987?
I don't recall. Slough? No, I don't recall it.
Could we have up, please, 37252? I'll give you a moment to familiarize yourself.
Well, it doesn't prompt a clear recollection of being there, of the event. I mean, I can't rule it out. So I think that's all I can say at the moment.
Could we take that down, please? Did you conduct a reconnaissance of the Harrow branch?
No, I didn't.
Did Jeff Shepherd conduct a reconnaissance of the Romford branch and tell you that they did not have a fur department?
No.
Did you persuade Jeff Shepherd that he should pursue the attack on the Romford branch nevertheless?
No.
Did you tell Jackie before the attacks that the action was going to happen?
No, I'm sure that I did not.
Did you tell Jackie that Helen Steele was a member of the cell or anything like that?
I'm sure that I did not.
Were you telling her these things before June?
I'm sorry?
Were you telling her these things before June of 1987?
Was I telling Jackie?
Yes.
No.
Did you tell her at some point before the attacks that the target was going to be Debenham's stores?
No.
Did you, shortly after first meeting Simon Terain, give him the impression that you were involved in arson attacks?
I'm pretty sure that I did not.
You did befriend him, didn't you?
I don't think so. We spoke together. I knew him. We had conversations. I don't think we ever became friends.
When you say you had conversations about the ethics of things like incendiary attacks to advance the cause of animal liberation.
Well, I don't recall. I don't really recall what we discussed. So,
could we have up, please, a document which is from Volume 3, Tab B, Roman numeral 1, 39, 723092. Could we have, first of all, the first page of text to show the witness what this document is? Thank you. This is a Section 9 witness statement made by Simon Terain on the 18th of May, 2016. Could we go to page 4, please? Looking for the third and fourth paragraphs up from the bottom, please. It was probably about a month after meeting Bob that he started to talk about elements of his life. Belinda would say, "Bob wants to talk to you about some stuff," and then he did. He would seem to want to talk about the ethics, particularly of what he'd been doing in the incendiary line. I have never understood why he would have singled me out for that, because I'm not an anarchist. I am not into animal rights, and I have eaten meat all my life. Why he singled me out for this, I don't know. Is it right that Simon Terain was not an anarchist, not into animal rights, and an omnivore?
I'm sure that that's right.
Could we go to the top of page 5, please? I can recall when he would discuss with me things like the ethics of setting off an incendiary device in a department store. My point of view would be that even if you've got timers, that it ensures it isn't going to go off until everyone's gone home, then you're still putting firefighters and security staff at risk. If your timer malfunctions and it goes off, you know, with people in the store, this could be really dire. You could kill people. Are your animal ethics worth this? That was my point of view. That was my argument. In September, after the fires at the Debenham stores and the arrest of a couple of people, and Bob was saying, I really want to carry on with this stuff, and I am saying, Bob, you can't do it. You've obviously got an informer within your group. You would be insane to carry on with it. Never mind any of the ethics of it. I think Bob mentioned the people. The context was that he was in it over his head, that it was we who do these things. I was right against wanting to have any specific knowledge. I did not want to know specifics. I did not want to hear that he had personally done these things, although the whole context of the conversation was that he had done these things and that he would go to jail big time if he was caught. Starting with the first paragraph that I read out, is it right that you had conversations about incendiary devices along the lines there set out?
I'm confident that it is completely false.
Going to the next paragraph. Did you, after the attacks on the Debenham stores, portray yourself to Mr. Terain as really wanting to carry on with such attacks?
I am confident that this is not an account that I can place any credence on. I don't believe it's sort of neutral. No, I can't. Well, I could try and talk to individual parts, but this whole statement I believe to be, certainly to be false.
In what ways do you say the evidence of a man who was against arson attacks, an omnivore and not an activist, is providing a partisan account?
I do have reasons to doubt the authenticity of it. I can develop that, but I probably can't do that immediately.
Are you saying that if I give an opportunity to you now, your answer is you don't want to take it now, you want to take it at a later date?
Well, I would just need maybe some guidance, but I mean, I'm happy to talk to it if you want me to.
Why your reticence now?
Well, only I'm just conscious I don't want to, breach any of the rules, here today.
If you're concerned about breaching any restriction orders, you can write down what you want to say. I am affording you an opportunity to tell the chairman of any reason why you think Simon Terain would have a motive to tell lies about you.
When my identity as an undercover police officer became known, and there were obviously a lot of attention on me, I have a recollection that he was contributing to discussion on a particular forum, a forum that had, let's say, an axe to grind with me, and for that reason, I mean, if it was possible today to retrieve the items that I was reading, what was that, 2011, 12, that period, I think that would at the very least, explain my reticence to give credence to his account.
Does it amount to because he was angry with you because you had sexually deceived a close friend of his into a protracted emotional relationship?
But that's not what his contributions to this discussion group alerted me to. Yes, I think.
Sorry, I'll let you finish.
I mean, I think that is perhaps part of his motivation for this account. But the point I'm making is that I had reasonable grounds for thinking in, let's call it 2011, thereabouts, that he was part of a group that had an entirely separate axe to grind with me, which was then current, in 2011, a current axe to grind with me. So,
arising from your work with the Muslim Contact Unit?
Yes.
Can we now take that down and move to what you might have said to Belinda Harvey? Can we have from volume 4, tab B, Roman numeral 2, 64, 737 217, please? Page 6, please. This is a witness statement of Belinda Harvey made to police in February 2018. If we could have it expanded, the text from the subheading Bob and Debenhams onwards, please. Thank you. Bob first spoke to me about Debenhams before the July events. I know this because he was speaking about something that was going to happen in the future. I think this was about 3 or 4 weeks before the attacks in July. I had only known Bob a few weeks at the time. Is that correct?
No, I seriously, I said, well, I know it isn't correct.
Goes on to say, I think we were in my bedroom in Marjorie Park Road when he first talked of the planned Debenhams attacks. He told me he was going to be involved in a direct action and that the fur coats in Debenhams were to be the targets. He told me that Jeff Shepherd and Andrew Clark were to be involved, and as I recall, there was a 4th person who pulled out before they went ahead. Although I am less sure of this particular detail, there may even have been a 5th. Did you communicate those things to Belinda Harvey, as she describes?
No, I did not.
Or in any manner at all before the attacks?
No.
In the end, it was just Jeff, Andrew, and Bob told me that only he, Jeff, and Andrew ended up participating in the action. Did you tell him that?
No.
Sorry, you tell her that. He did not tell me beforehand which day it was going to happen or which store he was going to. All I knew from him was that some stores selling fur coats were the target. Is that right?
No, it's not.
He told me that the plan was to enter the store and place the incendiary devices in the fur department so that they would set off sprinklers and ruin the stock. Did you tell her that?
No.
As I recall, he said the devices were to be placed inside a large box of matches or possibly cigarette box. The devices were, in fact, placed inside a large box of matches, weren't they?
Yes, I believe so.
Did you tell her that?
No, I did not.
He said that the overall plan was that each device was to be placed in a different store on the same day. They were to place the devices in the store during opening hours, and presumably there was a timer mechanism for them to go off in the night. Did you tell her that?
No, I certainly did not.
He talked about the plan more than once before it happened. He talked about it to such an extent that I told him I didn't want to know about it and turned the discussion to another subject. Is that right?
No, it's not.
The conversations were in our house. It was just the 2 of us.
No.
Is that right?
No.
Go over the page, please. Between 47 and 50. Thank you. I thought it was wrong. I tried to persuade him not to do it, as I thought it was wrong. Is that true?
No.
I asked him how he could contemplate such a thing that might kill somebody. He reassured me that the action would not hurt anyone. The purpose was to create smoke to set off the sprinklers so that all the fur coats would be damaged and could not be sold, but it was otherwise supposed to be safe. Did you say anything to that effect?
No, I did not.
My love for Bob obscured my thoughts, and I didn't internalize how serious he was about it. He told me not to tell anyone. Is that right?
No.
He said that Jeff and Andrew would be fuming if they knew he had told me. I felt it was an indication of how much he loved and trusted me that he told me about this. That was my main thought. Did you tell Belinda Harvey that Jeff and Andrew would be fuming if they knew that you had told her?
No, I did not.
Was confiding in Belinda Harvey about the plans for these attacks a way of cementing your emotional and sexual relationship with her?
Certainly not.
She says at paragraph 48, "It was clear to me that these conversations were before the Debenhams attack. I said to him that I did not want him to do it. He said that he was in too deep. I clearly remember finding it a bit odd that he said that he was in too deep. These were the words he used. He said that he had just gone too far down the line and could not pull out now." Did you say that?
I did not say that.
Did you say that to Belinda at any time, whether before or after the attacks?
At no time.
He said that he would not do anything like this ever again, and that afterwards he was just going to be a taxi driver and a partner to me. He recognized that he could not go on doing this sort of thing. Did you say that to Belinda after the attacks?
I'm sure that I did not.
Could we take that down now, please? Could we have up from volume 4, tab B, Roman numeral 2, 67, 737218. Could we go past the cover sheet to show the witness what this is? This is a Section 9 witness statement made by Belinda Harvey in 2018. Can we go to page 4, please? Paragraph 9. On the weekend of the 11th and 12th of July 1987, was Bob with you? I remember that Bob was with me and told me that he was going off to meet Andrew and Jeff. They were going to meet in a park and then go off their separate ways with the devices. In her oral evidence, Belinda Harvey described you leaving her home quite late at night, about 11 o'clock-ish. Did you, on the night of the 10th of July, Friday the 10th of July 1987, leave Belinda's home having told her that you were going to meet Andrew and Jeff?
I'm sure that I didn't.
Did you, on any other date, tell Belinda Harvey that you were going to meet Andrew and Jeff in a park and then go off your separate ways with the devices?
No.
Could we take that that paragraph down, and could we go now to page 5, paragraph 12? When did this meeting with Andrew and Jeff to finalise arrangements take place? And this is in the witness statement where she says around 11 o'clock. I only remember that Bob Lambert left at around 11 p.m. on the night. I was just going to bed and he surprised me by saying that he was going off to meet Jeff and Andrew. I do not know if Bob was going straight to meet them or going home first. I had expected him to be staying with me as he usually did. I did not take it seriously, to be honest, and although it sounds strange, I just thought it was bravado and doubted that Bob would really be doing anything. Does reading that change your answers to my last two questions in any way?
No.
Could we take the document down now, please? On the 11th of July 1987, which was a Saturday, did you collect one or more improvised incendiary devices for the purpose of planting at Debenhams?
No.
Did you go to a house where there were 8 such devices laid out on a bed or a table?
No, I didn't.
Did you meet Andrew Clark, Jeff Shepherd, or Paul Gravett during the day on the 11th of July?
No, I did not.
Did you travel to Harrow and plant a single improvised incendiary device in the Harrow branch of Debenhams?
No.
In the luggage area?
No.
Did you, on the evening of the 11th of July 1987, go to a gig in Stoke Newington and meet Paul Gravett, Jeff Shepherd, and Andrew Clark?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Did you go
The date? No, the date.
11th of July, on the evening of the 11th, the Saturday evening?
No, I'm sure that I didn't.
Were you involved in any way with the telephone calls that were made to claim responsibility for the attacks?
No.
Did you attend a meeting with any of the 3 men I've just named thereafter to discuss the attacks?
No.
Did you attend a meeting with any of those 3 men after the attacks? And I use meeting in a very loose sense of the word, at which those attacks were discussed.
No.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Could we go, please, to the document at volume 4, tab B, Roman numeral 2, tab 64, 737217. This is the same statement we had up a moment ago, her statement of 2018 to the police. Could we go to page 8, please? And thank you. If we could have it expanded so I can read from para 56, please. I first learned that the attacks had taken place from Bob. I did not read about them in the paper or on the news, either at the time or later, though I think at some point later someone told me that they had been on the news. It might have been Bob who told me. It was a day or so after it had happened that he told me about it. I don't remember where this conversation took place. No one else was there. I think I understood that the attacks had happened a day or a few days before our conversation because Bob told me it had happened a day or a few days before. Is that account wholly or partly correct?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Certainly, well, it's I can't really be sure at the moment. Just I mean, which, I don't know. Can you take me through it?
Well, this is Belinda Harvey saying a day or so after the attacks you told her about them. Did you do that?
Well, I mean, I can't recall, but I mean, at some point, I'm sure I would have talked to her about it. You know, once I learnt about it, for sure.
If I pick it up from 59, Bob told me that Jeff, Andrew and he had placed incendiary devices at 3 Debenham stores. He did not tell me which stores had been attacked or who had placed incendiary devices at which stores. I had the impression there was another store planned or actually targeted the same night, but can't be sure about this. Did you tell Belinda Harvey that Jeff, Andrew and you had placed IIDs at 3 different Debenham stores?
No, I'm sure that I did not.
Did you tell her that one of the devices had not gone off, even though it had been planted?
No.
If I pick it up at 61, he told me about the device and how it was made, as if I might be interested, which I clearly was not. He told me that they learned how to make the devices from some publication, I think a book called The Anarchist Cookbook. I have a recollection that he showed me a sheet of paper, perhaps a photocopy, with instruction on how to make devices. I did not look at it carefully, but I do recall that Bob had it in his hand and was waving it around in front of me. I think he told me that Jeff and Andrew were involved in making the devices and they planned it all together. Is it true that you told Belinda Harvey how the devices had been made, including by reference to some form of instruction?
No, I'm absolutely certain that I didn't.
He told me he had put the device down the back or side of a sofa. Did you do that?
I certainly did not.
He made it clear to me that he had planted an incendiary device. Did you do that?
No.
I had other conversations with him over the following days about what had happened. He wanted to talk about it. I did not. We talked at the house. I have a recollection of him telling me something about having met up with Andrew and Jeff to finalise arrangements. And I think we've had some similar evidence read already, so I will stop there. Did you want to portray to Belinda Harvey that you were a hardcore ALF activist?
No.
Why is it that Belinda Harvey, Simon Terain and Jackie all say that you spoke to them about these attacks in terms which indicated that you were involved?
I mean, I can only speculate, and obviously I've thought about it, and I've offered you one thought that I've had as regards the authenticity of Simon Terain's statement, but unless you want me to, I won't offer any speculation. I can be clear in my own mind that they're not true. I've denied every allegation, and if I don't know. I don't feel inclined to speculate. There is one. I mean, we're dealing with.
It's up to you, Mr. Lambert. I'm giving you the opportunity, if you wish, to advance to the chairman any explanation.
Well, okay. I mean, I haven't read this before, but I think it must be important for me to just refer to what has only sort of come to my attention recently, just to sort of begin grounds for doubting the authenticity of this account from Belinda. You know, I've read Robin Lane's statement, account. It seems clear that he had an ongoing friendship with Belinda after my departure. I'll just leave it there. I think it might be sufficient to just be able to recognise that perhaps her own understandable anger at discovering that I was really an undercover police officer, the kind of information that she's using in this statement, which is really quite, you know, potentially that is quite damning to me. Just as what is for me a very preliminary thought on this, because I've only just really, you know, been aware of it, but I think it seems to me there is potential that Belinda has had some ongoing contact with individuals, including Robin Lane, which could potentially be the source of her information here. Simon, Belinda, Jackie, I haven't read her. Well, I think you've addressed some of her evidence to me. I don't know. I think again I would I think probably Jackie is more for you know for the reason that Jackie and I have been involved in the sort of the joint enterprise of helping our son to come to terms with this you know, with my background. I think Jackie's comments might, you know, might be. I don't think it's malicious. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what to make of it. But in any event, I strongly disagree with Jackie's recollections as well. But on the face of it, it's this one that's on my screen at the moment that seems to be the most, potentially, the most damaging to me. And I feel inclined, you know, for my, you know, for what I know to be the truth, and given, you know, my family who will be very interested in what the truth is, I think I've got to at least say what I can about, you know, what might be behind it. Perhaps I should leave it there.
I'm being told that you were shown this witness statement when you made your own witness statement, and there is reference to it.
Oh, well then, I've apologies. But that doesn't alter. It certainly doesn't alter the fact that I've recently read Robin Lane's statement about his ongoing relationship with, I just mean friendship with Belinda.
And then there is the fact that Paul Gravett, who escaped detection at the time, has come forward and told this inquiry that you were part of the team which bombed Debenhams on the 11th and 12th of July 1987. Why would you do that?
Again, I can I can only speculate.
And then there's Mr. Shepherd, who's done his time for his part in the attacks. Why would he come forward and say that you were a part of this cell if that were not true?
I think both Paul Gravett and Jeff Shepherd would have adequate grounds or adequate motivation in terms of simple revenge. I deceived them, and if I'd been asked in 1987, what should I expect from my then ALF friends, contacts, what should I expect if they discovered my true identity? I would expect serious harm to myself, my family, serious jeopardy to, following from that, to other colleagues on the SDS. And today, this collectively, sticking with Clark and Shepherd, that would be a potential motivation, revenge.
So 5 people all telling lies on oath or affirmation to a public inquiry in order to exact revenge.
And for the benefit of the movement that many of them come from, to portray me as an agent provocateur, to portray me in these terms. I can understand it in those terms as a motivation, but I can only be entirely certain of my own evidence.
And Helen Steele, whose evidence was that she did attend a meeting in a park at which you were present, at which she was invited into the conspiracy, that makes half a dozen. Is your explanation for why she would give that evidence any different than for the other 5?
No.
You talked about the harm that you asserted you might come to if you had been discovered. You were eventually discovered. You have not come to any physical harm, have you?
No.
neither has John Dines, who also was targeting the ALF.
That's correct.
Nor has any other former SDS officer.
No.
The evidence given to this inquiry is to the effect that if you had been uncovered, the fact you were an undercover police officer would have been milked to the full for its publicity effect, but you would not have been subjected to physical violence, because that is not the way of the ALF. Is that a reasonable assumption as to what in fact would have happened if you had been uncovered?
In 19 sorry, in 2000
1987.
1987. Well, I think the evidence points the other way. In 87, all of the tactics that we've seen, incendiary devices and so forth, I think they would, I think the people, whoever was in charge of that kind of risk assessment at the time, I think it would have been taken